Open with a story that instantly engages seniors. Describe the fear of losing independence because of blurry vision at night, missing a step on the stairs, struggling to read, giving up driving. Then pivot to hope. Introduce the idea that science now shows the eyes can actually repair themselves while you sleep if given the right fuel. Tease that one fruit eaten at the right time can help seniors restore their night vision naturally. Keep it simple, relatable, and full of curiosity. Imagine this: you're getting ready for bed, the lights are low, and your eyes are straining more than you remember. Reading the clock across the room feels fuzzy. Walking to the bathroom requires extra caution, and the headlights from passing cars seem to explode like fireworks in your vision. What's really happening in those moments isn't just old age sneaking up on you. It's a nightly battle being waged inside your eyes, and most people don't even know it's happening. The retina, that delicate sheet of tissue at the back of your eye, is one of the most energy-hungry parts of your body. During the day, it works nonstop, processing light, colors, movement, and detail, translating it all into electrical signals that your brain can interpret in real time. That takes a massive amount of energy, and with energy comes waste. The retina produces free radicals as a byproduct, unstable molecules that can damage cells if they aren't cleaned up. In youth, this cleanup crew is strong, powered by antioxidants and cellular repair systems. At night, melatonin helps signal your body to slow down, shift gears, and repair the day's wear and tear. But with age, that system starts to falter. It's the antioxidants that once flooded your eyes, vitamins C and E, carotenoids like lutein and zeaxanthin, aren't as abundant. Mitochondria, the little power plants inside your eye cells, don't run as efficiently, and the free radicals begin to outnumber the defenses. It's like trying to clean up a house party with only half the cleaning crew. Trash piles up faster than you can take it out. Over time, the retina becomes more vulnerable to oxidative stress, and that shows up in very real, very frustrating ways. One of the first signs is trouble with night vision. You've probably noticed it, taking longer for your eyes to adjust when you walk into a dark room, struggling to see contrast when the lights are dim, or feeling blinded by oncoming headlights when driving. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's the result of a weakened repair process. The cells that sense light, your photoreceptors, especially the rods that handle low light vision, are damaged more easily and recover more slowly. Glare sensitivity worsens because the protective pigments in your retina thin out, allowing stray light to scatter instead of focusing cleanly. And then there's melatonin. In your younger years, melatonin production surges as the sun goes down, orchestrating a symphony of repair throughout your body, including your eyes. But with age, melatonin levels decline. Less melatonin means weaker signals telling your retina to restore itself at night. Think of it like having a foreman who no longer shows up to direct the workers. The repair still happens, but it's sloppy, incomplete, and slower. The result is a vicious cycle. Damaged cells mean more oxidative stress, which leads to even more damage. The process feeds itself, and unless something interrupts that cycle, vision continues to decline. But here's the thing: biology didn't design you to fail. The system is still there, the repair pathways are still active, they just need a little help to function the way they used to. Seniors who notice these changes aren't experiencing some mysterious curse. They're witnessing what happens when the nightly battle inside the eyes is fought without enough ammunition. What makes this battle so interesting is that it's invisible until it isn't. You don't feel the oxidative stress, you don't feel the tiny breaks in your photoreceptors, you don't sense the sluggish mitochondria. But you do feel the consequences: avoiding night driving, squinting under dim light, hesitating on the stairs at night. These everyday struggles are the outward signs of an inward process that's happening every single evening when the lights go out. Science is showing us that this decline is not inevitable. The tools to repair are built into your body, and they're still functional even in later years. What changes is whether they're being supported or neglected. Seniors who understand this hidden battle can do something about it, because the fight isn't lost, it just needs reinforcement. Think back to the last time you sat in a dim restaurant and struggled to read the menu without pulling out your phone flashlight. Or maybe it was when you got behind the wheel at night, and the glare of headlights made you tense up and grip the steering wheel tighter than usual. These little frustrations might seem like nuisances, but they're actually clues, signals from your body that the eye's natural systems are weakening. Night vision, once automatic and reliable, becomes one of the first casualties of aging, and the reasons are more complex than just getting older. The eye is an organ that depends heavily on circulation. Tiny blood vessels feed the retina and keep oxygen and nutrients flowing to the most active tissue in your body. When you're younger, those vessels are flexible and efficient. Blood moves freely, delivering antioxidants and removing waste. But with age, circulation declines. Blood vessels stiffen, narrow, or even get partially blocked. This is especially true if you've lived decades with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or elevated blood sugar. When the flow slows down, the retina doesn't get what it needs. Photoreceptors, Particularly the rods that handle low light vision are left vulnerable, and the result is slower adaptation when you move from light to dark and more difficulty seeing contrast in dim environments. Antioxidants play another central role in this story. Every time your eyes process light, especially blue light from artificial sources, free radicals are generated. Antioxidants are the defense system that neutralizes them before they can wreak havoc. In youth, your antioxidant reserves are like a full tank of gas, enough to keep the system humming. But over time, that tank empties faster than it gets refilled. Diets low in colorful vegetables, fruits, and essential nutrients only accelerate the depletion. By the time someone reaches their 60s or 70s, the antioxidant shield has thinned considerably, and the retina is left exposed to the constant barrage of oxidative stress. That's why cloudy lenses, macular degeneration, and night vision decline become more common. It's not random. It's predictable biology running out of resources. Sugar adds yet another layer to the problem. High blood sugar doesn't just give you energy highs and lows, it inflicts long-term damage on the very blood vessels that feed your eyes. This is called glycation, where sugar molecules attach themselves to proteins and make them stiff and dysfunctional. Over years, this sugar damage compromises circulation in the tiny capillaries that nourish the retina. That's why people with diabetes often experience retinopathy. But even without diabetes, decades of excess sugar intake accelerate the same damage. The microvessels feeding your photoreceptors become leaky or blocked, and your ability to see clearly in the dark deteriorates. And then comes cumulative oxidative stress, the slow burning fuse that makes everything worse. Every single day, your eyes are bombarded with light, oxygen, and metabolic activity. So that's the price of vision. It takes enormous energy to process the visual world. The mitochondria inside your retinal cells churn out energy, but they also release free radicals in the process. If they're not cleaned up by antioxidants, they begin to damage the mitochondria themselves. Think of it like a power plant that starts corroding from its own exhaust. Over decades, this stress builds up, leading to cell dysfunction and death. Once enough cells are compromised, the eye simply cannot function the way it once did, and light vision pays the price first. For seniors, these root causes converge in ways that are hard to ignore. A trip to the grocery store in the evening feels different. The parking lot lights don't illuminate the ground as well. Shadows feel deeper, and curbs harder to judge. A family gathering in a softly lit living room requires leaning closer to recognize faces. Walking down a dark hallway at night can feel risky, each step uncertain, as the eyes fail to adjust quickly enough. These are not just inconveniences, they chip away at independence, confidence, and quality of life. It's no coincidence that seniors avoid driving at night or decline social outings in dimly lit settings. The biology behind these choices is real and measurable. Cloudy lenses scatter light instead of focusing it, weakened photoreceptors send weaker signals, and blood-starved retinas recover too slowly. The frustration is not imagined. It's the end result of years of small, invisible injuries inside the eyes. Yet the story doesn't have to end with loss. The decline in night vision is not a sudden collapse, it's a gradual unraveling of systems that once worked in perfect harmony. And because it's gradual, it can be slowed, supported, and in some cases, partially reversed. But it begins with understanding why seniors lose night vision in the first place. Because once you see the hidden causes, you realize there are ways to fight back. When most people think of sleep, they think of shutting down, closing their eyes, drifting off, and waking up 8 hours later, hopefully refreshed. But what's happening inside the body, and especially inside the eyes, is not shut down at all. It's repair, it's restoration, it's maintenance work that only happens in the dark. Sleep is not just about resting your mind. It's about giving your body a chance to rebuild the damage from the day. And nowhere is that more important than in the eyes, which spend every waking moment exposed to light, oxygen, and stress. The eyes are like a factory that never stops running. During the day, the machines are at full tilt, photoreceptors catching light, converting it into electrical signals, neurons processing that information and sending it to the brain at lightning speed. It's nonstop, and like any factory, it produces waste. Free radicals, metabolic byproducts, tiny tears, and cell membranes. These are the scraps left over from a day of vision. If you went to bed and nothing happened to clean it all up, the system would collapse under its own waste. That's where sleep comes in. When darkness falls, melatonin rises. Most people think of melatonin only as the hormone that makes you sleepy, but that's barely scratching the surface. Melatonin is also a master signal, a conductor waving its baton to cue the repair crew. It tells the mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside each cell, to switch modes. Instead of cranking out energy like they do in the day, they shift into repair mode, fixing broken DNA, patching up membranes, and restoring balance. Melatonin itself is also a powerful antioxidant, directly neutralizing free radicals that threaten your cells. In other words, it doesn't just tell the crew what to do. It also jumps in and does the heavy lifting. The mitochondria are the unsung heroes here. They generate the energy that lets you see, think, and move, but they take a beating in the process. Over time, they accumulate damage, and that's where antioxidants step in. Think of antioxidants as the cleaning crew that comes in after the machines stop for the night. They sweep up the free radicals, neutralize the oxidative wastes, and leave the place ready for another day of heavy work. Vitamins like C and E, along with plant compounds from fruits and vegetables, make up this crew. Without them, the waste piles up, the machinery gets gummed up, and the system slows down. It's a simple picture if you imagine a kitchen. You cook all day, pots, pans, grease, scraps everywhere. If you never clean the kitchen, the mess just builds. By the end of the week, you can barely cook anymore. But if every night a team comes in, scrubs the counters, washes the dishes, and resets the space, you can cook again the next day without missing a beat. That's exactly what melatonin, mitochondria, and antioxidants do for your eyes at night. They keep the kitchen clean. The trouble comes when the repair crew doesn't have the tools it needs. If your diet is low in antioxidants, if sugar damage has already compromised blood vessels, if your melatonin production is weak because of too much late night screen time or not enough darkness, the crew shows up but can't do its job. Imagine janitors arriving to clean the factory floor but finding no brooms, no mops, no soap. They walk around, maybe pick up a few scraps by hand, but most of the mess stays behind. By morning, the factory is only half cleaned, and with each passing night, the buildup grows worse. That's why seniors notice their eyes feeling weaker at night. It's not just the passage of time, it's years of missed opportunities for repair. The cleaning crew has been showing up faithfully, but without proper fuel and conditions, they've been outmatched by the mess. Over the decades, this small imbalance snowballs into big problems: slower adaptation in the dark, cloudy lenses that scatter light, and retinal cells that no longer perform at their best. What's both frustrating and hopeful is that this system still works, even late in life. The crew is still there. Melatonin is still produced, though in smaller amounts. Mitochondria are still working, though not as efficiently. Antioxidants still circulate, though in smaller supplies. The problem isn't that the crew has retired, it's that they've been underfed and undersupported. Give them the right tools and the cleanup can still happen. This is why sleep is so much more than rest. It is biology's chance to catch up, to clean house, to repair the invisible damage that builds up during the day. And when it comes to the eyes, which never get a break while you're awake, sleep is the only opportunity for real restoration. If the right fuel is missing, the repair crew is powerless. But if it's present, they can work wonders, leaving your eyes clearer, sharper, and more resilient for the day ahead. Picture this: you've just learned how your eyes fight an invisible battle every night, how melatonin signals the cleanup crew, how antioxidants sweep away the waste, and how mitochondria try to repair the damage. The problem is, the crew has been working short-staffed for years. Now imagine there's one simple food, one piece of fruit you can eat before bed that delivers reinforcements right when your eyes need them most. Not in the morning, not at lunch, but at night, when repair is actually happening. That fruit is the cherry. Cherries may not look like much, small, sweet, sometimes tart, but inside they carry one of the richest natural sources of melatonin found in any food. And remember, melatonin isn't just about falling asleep, it's the conductor of your nighttime repair. When you eat cherries, especially tart cherries, you're not just boosting your ability to drift off, you're giving your eyes extra melatonin to orchestrate the cleaning and rebuilding of damaged cells while you sleep. Think of it as hiring a few more managers to direct the workers in your nightly repair factory. But that's only half the story. Cherries are also loaded with anthocyanins, those deep red and purple pigments that give them their color. Anthocyanins are powerful polyphenols, plant compounds that act like shock absorbers for your cells. They neutralize free radicals before those unstable molecules can shred your retinal tissue. They also improve blood flow by keeping your tiny vessels flexible and reducing inflammation. Better blood flow means more oxygen and nutrients get delivered to your photoreceptors, which is exactly what they need to adapt to darkness and recover from glare. So now, the workers aren't just better organized by melatonin, they've also got better tools in their hands. And then there's vitamin C, another major player packed into cherries. Vitamin C is like the multitasker of antioxidants. It strengthens collagen in the eye, which supports the structure of the cornea and lens, while also scrubbing away free radicals from light exposure. Combine that with melatonin and anthocyanins, and you've got a triple threat working together to protect and repair your eyes while you sleep. Here's why cherries stand out compared to other fruits. Yes, blueberries, oranges, and grapes all have antioxidants, but they don't deliver melatonin in meaningful amounts. Cherries are unique because they supply both the signal to repair and the compounds to make repair possible. It's the difference between a company that only hires workers versus one that hires both workers and supervisors. With cherries, your eyes get the full team. Now, think about how this plays out in real life. A senior who eats cherries before bed is essentially boosting the natural signals their body is already sending. Their melatonin, which may be lower because of age, gets a small but meaningful lift. Their antioxidant defenses, weakened from years of cumulative stress, get replenished. And their blood vessels, strained from decades of sugar and oxidative damage, get a little more support to keep delivering oxygen where it's needed most. The result isn't magic, but it's measurable. Better dark adaptation, less glare sensitivity, and a slower progression of lens clouding and retinal decline. Science has backed this up. Studies on tart cherry juice, for instance, have shown improvements in sleep quality and duration, confirming that the melatonin from cherries is not just present but bioavailable. It actually works. Pair that with the antioxidant data, and you start to see why researchers are so intrigued by cherries for eye health. It's not hype, it's biochemistry doing its job with a little help from the right fruit. For seniors, this isn't about chasing youth or turning back the clock. It's about giving your body what it needs at the right time. Eating cherries during the day may taste good, but eating them at night lines up perfectly with your body's natural repair cycle. That's the secret. Timing. The eyes don't repair while you're awake and staring at screens. They repair in the dark, during sleep, under the direction of melatonin. And cherries deliver exactly what the system is asking for at exactly the right moment. So what makes this so powerful is its simplicity. No complicated pills, no expensive treatments, just a fruit that's been around forever, hiding in plain sight. Seniors who embrace this nightly habit aren't relying on a miracle. They're partnering with biology, giving their eyes the raw materials to heal the way nature intended. The fruit does its part, the body does the rest. When science feels abstract, it can be easy to dismiss. Molecules, pathways, antioxidants. It all sounds important but distant. What really makes it real is when you see the changes in people's lives. It's when a simple shift in habit transforms something as basic and precious as the ability to see clearly at night. And that's exactly what's happened for seniors who've tried adding cherries before bedtime. Their stories put flesh and blood onto the science, turning theory into lived experience. Take Margaret, for instance. She's 72 and had stopped driving at night 5 years ago. The glare from oncoming headlights was too much. She'd feel her whole body tense as cars approached, unsure if she could stay in her lane. Her daughter started driving her to evening church services, something Margaret once enjoyed doing on her own. When she heard about the role of cherries in boosting melatonin and antioxidants, she figured she had nothing to lose. Within weeks of eating a small bowl of tart cherries after dinner, she began to notice a difference. It wasn't like flipping a light switch, more like a gradual clearing. The halos around headlights weren't as blinding. She felt more confident judging distance. It's more relaxed behind the wheel. For the first time in years, she told her daughter she wanted to try driving herself home. Then there's Samuel, 68, who'd grown frustrated with his evening routine. He loved reading before bed, but the strain on his eyes in low light meant he had to give it up. Even with his glasses, the words seemed to blur faster, and he often went to sleep with a dull ache behind his eyes. After introducing tart cherry juice at night, he noticed something subtle but profound. His eyes didn't feel as tired. He could read for 20 minutes without squinting or rubbing his temples. The eye strain that had crept into his evenings began to fade, giving him back a piece of his daily rhythm he thought was gone forever. One of the most striking stories came from Lillian, who lives in a retirement community. At 75, she'd resigned herself to avoiding evening events. Walking the dimly lit hallways made her anxious. She'd once missed a step and nearly fallen. A friend introduced her to the cherry habit, and she joined in more out of camaraderie than conviction. Within a month, she noticed she wasn't hesitating as much when walking in the dark. The outlines of furniture seemed sharper, shadows less menacing. Her confidence grew, and she began attending more evening activities, laughing with friends instead of retreating to her room. Her family noticed, too. She seemed lighter, more engaged, more herself again. These stories are not miracles. They're not overnight cures or wild transformations. They're slow, steady shifts that come from supporting the body's natural repair mechanisms. Seniors who felt sidelined by poor night vision found themselves rejoining the world at times of day they'd once avoided. So a short evening walk, a late dinner out, or a family drive no longer felt like risks. They felt possible again. What's striking is how consistent the themes are. Clearer night vision, less strain in dim light, greater confidence when driving or walking after dark. These aren't isolated flukes. They're the real-world reflections of what happens when melatonin, anthocyanins, and antioxidants are working together the way they're meant to. And when you listen to these seniors, you hear not just relief, but empowerment. They're not passively watching their vision slip away. They're actively doing something, and it's paying off. Science explains the why, but stories reveal the how. They show how a bowl of cherries or a glass of tart cherry juice at night can turn into something far bigger. The freedom to drive, to read, to walk, to live without fear of the dark. That's the true power of this fruit. It's not just nutrients on a label, it's independence, restored little by little. Most people think of fruit as something you eat in the morning, part of breakfast or maybe a midday snack. But when it comes to cherries and eye repair, the timing is everything. Eating them at night before bed makes all the difference because that's when your eyes are doing their real work of repair. Think of it like fueling a repair crew. You wouldn't give workers their tools after the job is done. You'd hand them over right before they clock in. The sweet spot is about an hour before bedtime. Diets. That's when your melatonin levels are starting to rise, preparing your body for sleep. If you eat cherries at this time, the natural melatonin in the fruit blends with your own production, giving it an extra boost. This ensures that when your eyes enter their nightly cleanup and repair cycle, there's enough of the signal hormone to get the crew moving efficiently. Now, how much should you eat? It doesn't take a mountain of cherries. Around a small bowl, 8 to 12 fresh tart cherries is enough. If fresh aren't available, frozen cherries work just as well, since freezing preserves their nutrients. Tart cherry juice is another option, but it should be unsweetened, about half a cup diluted with water to avoid a sugar spike. The goal isn't to flood your body with sugar, it's to provide the compounds melatonin, anthocyanins, vitamin C that your eyes can use for repair. Pairing matters too. If you eat cherries alongside a protein-rich food like a handful of nuts or a spoonful of plain yogurt, it slows the absorption of natural sugars, keeping blood sugar steady. That's especially important for seniors with diabetes or metabolic syndrome who need to be careful about fruit intake at night. On the flip side, avoid pairing cherries with sugary desserts, sweetened yogurts, or processed snacks because the added sugar will counteract the benefits. High blood sugar at night can damage the very capillaries you're trying to protect. Beyond the fruit itself, there are small, simple tweaks that can magnify the benefits. Dimming the lights in your home an hour before bed tells your body it's time to make melatonin. If you eat cherries under bright lights or with the TV blasting blue light into your eyes, you're working against yourself. Put away screens, lower the brightness, and let darkness do its job. That way, the melatonin from cherries isn't wasted. It joins your body's natural rhythm. Reducing sugar intake throughout the day also matters more than most people realize. If your bloodstream is flooded with excess glucose, the antioxidants from cherries are forced to put out sugar-fueled fires instead of focusing on retinal repair. Think of it like giving firefighters extra hoses, but then lighting new fires in the kitchen while they're trying to put out the one in the living room. The benefit of cherries is magnified when you're not working against yourself with added sugar at every meal. Hydration plays a supporting role as well. Your eyes are made mostly of water, and proper hydration ensures that nutrients from cherries can circulate freely to the tiny vessels in the retina. A glass of water with your evening cherries helps deliver those compounds where they're needed most. There are a few cautions worth mentioning. If you're prone to kidney stones, you'll want to moderate cherry intake because of their natural oxalate content. And for diabetics, portion size is critical. 12 cherries may be perfectly safe, but a large bowl or multiple glasses of cherry juice could create a blood sugar spike that cancels the benefits. Moderation, timing, and pairing are the keys to making this a sustainable habit. The beauty of this approach is that it fits naturally into a bedtime routine. Picture this: lights dimmed, screens off, a small bowl of tart cherries at your side. So you're not forcing a change, you're adding a ritual, a signal to your body that repair time is about to begin. Over time, this simple habit can make a real difference in how your eyes handle the challenges of night vision. Seniors who combine cherries with these lifestyle tweaks often report the biggest improvements. Less glare from headlights, more confidence walking down a hallway at night, better contrast when reading in dim light. These aren't random outcomes. They're the predictable results of giving your eyes the tools they need at exactly the moment they can use them best. It's tempting to hope that one food, one pill, or one simple trick will solve everything. The cherry story is powerful, yes, but no single fruit is a magic bullet. Your eyes, like the rest of your body, live in an ecosystem. Every choice you make, what you eat, how you move, when you sleep, feeds into that system. The fruit works because it supports what your body is already designed to do. But if the rest of the environment is working against you, it can only go so far. That's where lifestyle steps in. Think about blood flow. So your retina depends on a steady stream of oxygen and nutrients delivered through tiny, fragile capillaries. If you sit most of the day, if circulation slows, those vessels get less blood. Exercise is not just about keeping your heart strong or your weight down. It's about ensuring that blood reaches the smallest vessels, including the ones that feed your eyes. Even something as simple as walking daily, climbing stairs, or light resistance training pumps blood more effectively. That means antioxidants and nutrients from cherries actually get delivered to the right place instead of getting stuck in traffic. Then there's the bigger picture of nutrition. Cherries bring melatonin and anthocyanins, but your eyes also rely on carotenoids like lutein and zeaxanthin, found in leafy greens, eggs, and squash. They rely on omega-3 fats, especially DHA. It's found in fish, which are structural components of the retina itself. They rely on zinc, found in seeds and legumes, to move vitamin A into the retina for vision in low light. If you think of cherries as a star player, then these other foods are the rest of the team. One star can't win the game alone. It takes a lineup. Hydration is another piece seniors often overlook. The eye is a water-rich organ from the tear film to the vitreous gel. Dehydration thickens the blood, making it harder to deliver nutrients, and it dries out the eyes, leading to irritation that compounds vision strain. Drinking enough water throughout the day, especially alongside nutrient-dense meals, is a small but powerful way to keep the system running smoothly. Circadian rhythm might be the most underrated factor. Your body is wired to repair itself in darkness, in sync with natural day-night cycles. But artificial light, screens, and irregular sleep schedules disrupt that rhythm. You can eat cherries before bed, but if you're sitting under bright lights scrolling through your phone until midnight, your melatonin production takes a hit. Protecting circadian rhythm means aligning your lifestyle with your biology, dimming lights in the evening, limiting blue light exposure, and keeping a consistent sleep schedule. That way, the melatonin from cherries can reinforce a system that's already tuned to repair mode. Metabolism ties it all together. Elevated insulin, excess sugar, chronic inflammation. These conditions don't just affect your waistline, they starve your eyes. Sugar damage stiffens blood vessels, inflammation blocks repair, and metabolic dysfunction accelerates aging at the cellular level. That's why reducing added sugars, processed foods, and refined carbs is not just about weight control. It's directly about vision health. By lowering sugar load, you reduce the oxidative burden on your eyes and free up antioxidants from cherries and other foods to do their real job, repairing retinal tissue. This is not about blame. Seniors today are dealing with decades of a food environment stacked against them. Cheap processed foods, sedentary work, constant light exposure. The point is not to shame, but to empower. The body is resilient. Even after years of stress, it responds quickly when given the right conditions. Seniors who combine cherries at night with more vegetables during the day, daily movement, hydration, and circadian rhythm care often feel the changes faster than they expect. The bigger message here is that aging doesn't mean surrender. Yes, the systems slow down. The repair crew works with fewer resources, but the blueprint for health is still there. The body wants to heal, the eyes want to repair. Lifestyle choices are the reinforcements that let that happen. One fruit may light the spark, but it's the combination of habits that keep the fire burning. When you step back and look at the story of vision loss, it can feel overwhelming. The headlines talk about macular degeneration, cataracts, glaucoma, like these conditions are a one-way street guaranteed with age. And yet biology tells a different story. The body is not programmed for decline, it's programmed for survival. The systems that kept you alive through decades of stress, infection, and wear are the same systems that still work for you now if you give them the right tools. The eye is no exception. Think about what happens when you cut your skin. Even at 70 or 80, the wound closes, the cells knit back together, and the tissue repairs. That same machinery exists in the retina, the lens, and the cornea. It's just that with age, the workload gets heavier, more oxidative stress, more sugar damage, fewer nutrients. The repair team is still there, but they're short-staffed and under-equipped. The secret is not to replace the team, but to supply them with what they need. Small, consistent choices do that. A handful of cherries at night feeds melatonin and antioxidants into the repair cycle. Leafy greens during the day provide lutein and zeaxanthin, which accumulate right in the macula to filter damaging blue light. Omega-3 fats help stabilize retinal membranes, keeping them flexible and resilient. Even simple hydration allows blood to deliver these nutrients more effectively. None of these steps are dramatic on their own, but together they stack, like bricks building a wall of defense around your eyesight. And here's the liberating truth: it doesn't take perfection. You don't need to eat like a monk or exercise like an athlete. You just need consistency. Every time you choose nutrient-dense food over processed sugar, every evening you dim the lights to support melatonin, every walk that boosts circulation, you are giving your eyes one more reason to keep working for you. It's not about chasing youth, it's about supporting function. Seniors often tell themselves decline is inevitable, that they're destined for thicker glasses, blinding headlights, or giving up night driving altogether. But that's a story written by culture, not by biology. The science shows that vision can stabilize, slow its decline, and in many cases improve when oxidative stress is reduced and nutrients are supplied. Seniors who once avoided dimly lit restaurants find they can read menus again. Those who struggled with glare report less strain after a few weeks of consistent changes. This isn't a miracle, it's the body doing exactly what it was built to do. Natural restoration doesn't mean ignoring medicine or pretending disease doesn't exist. It means understanding that the foundation of health is built on everyday choices. Doctors can offer surgeries, lenses, and treatments, but those interventions work best when the underlying biology is supported. Think of it like fixing a house. You can patch the roof, but if the foundation is crumbling, the house won't hold. Nutrition, sleep, movement, hydration. These are the foundation. And perhaps the most inspiring part is this: it's never too late. Even in later years, the body responds quickly. Within days of better sleep, melatonin rises and repair deepens. Within weeks of better nutrition, blood flow improves and oxidative stress falls. Within months, vision feels steadier, less strained, more reliable. So the message isn't that you're running out of time, but that every step counts right now. So when seniors ask, am I doomed to lose my eyesight? The honest answer is no. Aging brings challenges. Yes, but decline is not destiny. With the right fuel, the right habits, and the right rhythm, the eyes can do what they were designed to do: adapt, repair, and serve you with clarity for years to come. The bigger picture is not fear, it's empowerment. Think about how many times you've been told that aging means losing strength, losing energy, losing vision. It's a message that wears people down, a story that leaves no room for hope. But that story isn't the truth. Biology doesn't say you're doomed to dimness and dependence. Biology says your body is designed to repair, to adapt, to fight for you every single night. The challenge is not whether repair is possible. The challenge is whether we give the body the tools it needs. That's where the surprising fruit at night comes in. Something as simple as a handful of cherries before bed can shift the balance. It's not a gimmick, not a fad, but real biochemistry. Melatonin working with antioxidants, mitochondria getting the fuel to clear away oxidative debris, retinal cells given a chance to heal instead of slowly deteriorating. Seniors who try it often feel the difference: headlights no longer blinding, menace no longer blurry, steps at night no longer dangerous. And those changes aren't just about vision, they're about freedom, independence, and confidence in everyday life. But the fruit is just the spark. The flame grows when you pair it with lifestyle choices that strengthen circulation, protect circadian rhythm, and reduce sugar damage. When you choose real food, when you move your body daily, when you protect your sleep environment, you're stacking the deck in your favor. These are not radical changes, they're small, doable shifts. But when practiced consistently, they accumulate into something powerful. The truth is, seniors are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of age. Your eyesight is not slipping away just because the calendar moves forward. Every night you eat the right foods, every time you give your body the chance to rest and repair, you're proving that the story of decline can be rewritten. And it's not just about adding years. It's about making those years sharp, clear, and full of color. So here's the message to hold on to. You're not just adding years to your life. You're adding clarity to every moment you live. That's the gift of understanding how your body works and choosing to work with it, not against it. That's the promise of natural repair. And that's the hope you carry forward, that even now, especially now, you can take back your sight and see the world with the clarity you deserve.